Autumn, 1944. A field workshop near Aachen. The war is usually won with a roar, but for Sergeant Karl Schmidt, the war was lost with a click. Karl is a master mechanic. He is a man who speaks the language of gears and grease. He has spent 3 years keeping the Wehrmacht moving. He has used wire, stolen parts, and prayer to keep the Opel Blitz trucks running. Behind his workshop, the forest is full of disabled signs. His yard is a graveyard of broken axles and seized engines. Then the recovery half-track arrives. It is towing a prize. It is an American truck. It is large. It is olive drab. It is a GMC CCKW 353. The Americans call it the Jimmy. Karl wipes his hands on a greasy rag. He walks toward the vehicle. He expects to find a crude, mass-produced machine. He expects to find American junk built by people who don't understand European craftsmanship. He opens the heavy steel hood. He reaches for his wrench to begin the autopsy. He expects to find a reason why Germany will win. Instead, he finds the reason why Germany has already lost. The recovery of the GMC was an accident of the retreat. The Americans had moved too fast. They had outrun their own fuel lines. This truck had simply run dry in a ditch. The German soldiers who found it were delighted. They saw a fresh set of tires. They saw a cargo bed that could hold 2.5 tons of supplies. But Karl Schmidt sees the vehicle differently. He sees the architecture of industry. He starts at the front. He notices the winch. It is powered by the engine. It is standard equipment. On a German truck, a winch is a luxury. It is a specialized part for pioneer units. Here, it is just another bolt-on. He crawls underneath the chassis. The mud is cold, but Karl doesn't care. He is looking at the axles. His eyes go wide. The truck has 10 wheels, and every single one of them is connected to the drive. It is a 6x6. In the German army, most trucks are 4x2. Only the rear wheels push. When the mud gets deep, the German trucks stop. The GMC doesn't stop. It claws. It has 3 powered axles working in perfect harmony. Karl touches the differential housing. It is smooth. It is precision cast. He tries to fit a German wrench to a bolt on the oil pan. It doesn't fit. He reaches for his American toolkit, captured weeks ago. The wrench slides on with zero play. It is a standardized thread. This sounds like a small detail. To a mechanic, it is a revelation. In the German army, a truck might be built in one of 20 different factories. Each factory has its own standards. If Karl needs a bolt for an Opel built in 1941, it might not fit an Opel built in 1943. The German military is a museum of parts. They have over 100 different models of trucks in service. Each model requires a different spare part. Each requires a different manual. Karl looks at the GMC. He realizes that every single Jimmy in the U.S. Army is identical. Whether it was built in Detroit or Pontiac, the parts are the same. This truck is not a vehicle. It is a Lego set. He stands up and looks at the manufacturing plate on the dashboard. It lists the production date. It lists the serial number. He realizes that while Germany is handcrafting jewels, America is stamping out Goliaths. The technical gap is not a crack. It is a canyon. And Karl Schmidt is standing on the wrong side of it. Karl looks at his Opel Blitz. It is a good truck. It is the backbone of the Wehrmacht. It is powered by a 3.6-liter engine. It is reliable on a paved road. But the Ardennes is not a paved road. The Opel is a 4x2. It has 2-wheel drive. In the mud, the rear wheels spin. They dig a hole. The truck sinks until the axle hits the dirt. The mission stops. The GMC is a CC KW353. The mechanics call it the deuce and a half. It is a 6x6. Every wheel is a driving wheel. It does not wait for the road to be built. It brings its own traction. Karl opens the hood of the GMC. He finds a 4.4-liter engine. It is a GMC 270. It is an inline 6. It produces 104 horsepower. He notices the oil filter. It is an external canister. It can be changed in 3 minutes with a single wrench. On the Opel, it is a complex mess of internal housings. The American engine is built for the field. The German engine is built for the workshop. He checks the cooling system. The GMC has a massive radiator. It is designed to survive the heat of North Africa and the humidity of the Pacific. The Opel radiators are small. They boil over in the summer. They freeze in the winter. Karl looks at the dashboard. It is simple. It uses standardized gauges. Every gauge has a white needle on a black background. They are clear and functional. He realizes a terrifying fact. Any American soldier can drive any American truck. The controls are always in the same place. The pedals are the same. The shifters are the same. In the Wehrmacht, a driver must be trained for a specific brand. A Ford driver might not understand a Henschel. A Magirus driver might not understand a Borgward. Karl finds a manual in the glove box. It is full of pictures. It is written for a 19-year-old from a farm in Iowa. It explains how to replace a carburetor in the rain. It assumes the driver is the mechanic. The German manuals are dense. They are written by engineers for engineers. They assume a master craftsman is always nearby, but there are no master craftsmen left in the foxholes. Karl looks at the tires. They are thick. They have deep, non-directional treads. They are made of natural rubber. German tires are made of Buna. This is a synthetic rubber. It is brittle. It shatters in the cold. It melts under high heat. The American tires are superior in every climate. He touches the chassis. It is made of stamped steel. It is strong and flexible. The Opel chassis is a heavy, rigid frame. It is built to last 20 years. But a truck in this war only lives for 6 months. The Americans know this. They are not building trucks to last decades. They are building trucks to win the year. Karl realizes the industrial philosophy. Germany is trying to out-engineer the world. America is trying to outproduce it. He calculates the production hours in his head. It takes twice as long to build one Opel as it does one GMC. This means for every German truck on the road, there are 2 Americans, and the American truck can drive through the mud while the German truck waits for a tow. Karl Schmidt closes the hood. He looks at his grease-stained hands. He feels the weight of the Jimmy sitting in his shop. It is a silent witness to a coming storm. The standardization shock is next. Karl decides to test a theory. He needs a starter motor for the captured GMC. He walks to the corner of his workshop. He finds a pile of parts from a wrecked Willys MB Jeep. He pulls the starter from the Jeep. He holds it up to the mounting bracket of the GMC. His hands begin to shake. The bolt holes align perfectly. The teeth on the gear match the flywheel. This is impossible in the German army. A starter for the Opel Blitz will not fit a Mercedes-Benz L3000. A generator for a Ford V3000 will not fit a Magirus Deutz. In Germany, every manufacturer is an island. They guard their designs. They use unique bolts. They use custom fittings. Karl realizes the Americans have solved the logistics of the bolt. They use the Unified Thread Standard. This means a half-inch bolt in California is the same as a half-inch bolt in Normandy. This is the standardization shock. To a mechanic, it is more terrifying than a tank. The Wehrmacht has a museum of parts. They are currently using over 150 different types of trucks. Each truck requires its own set of spares. A German supply sergeant must manage thousands of different part numbers. He must know if a water pump is for a 1941 model or a 1942 model. If the wrong crate arrives at the front, the Army stops moving. A broken fan belt can destroy the division's momentum. The GMC is different. It is a modular machine. The Americans call it the G508 family. Whether the truck has a short wheelbase or a long wheelbase, the engine is the same. The transmission is the same. The axles are the same. Karl realizes the power of the donor vehicle. If two GMCs are damaged, he can build one perfect truck in an hour. He just swaps the parts. In the Wehrmacht, a damaged truck is usually abandoned. It is too hard to find the exact matching part in the middle of a retreat. He looks at the spark plugs. They are identical to the ones in the American M8 Greyhound armored car. He looks at the light bulbs. They are the same as the ones in the Dodge WC series. America has turned war into a giant Lego set. Karl thinks about the factories in Detroit. He imagines a single assembly line. It is not building trucks. It is building a system. The German system is built on craftsmanship. It is built on the Meister. It is high quality, but it is slow. It is fragile. The American system is built on interchangeability. It is built on the machine tool. It is unstoppable. He finds a small metal tag on the generator. It says Delco Remy. He realizes this company makes parts for millions of civilian cars in America. When the war started, they didn't have to invent a new generator. They just kept making the same one. They just changed the paint to olive drab. The GMC is a civilian heart in a military body. Karl Schmidt feels a cold weight in his chest. He is a master of gears. He knows that a war of machines is actually a war of parts. Germany is fighting with 150 different languages. America is speaking one. He turns back to the engine. He wants to see the DNA of the part factory. He wants to see what makes this machine breathe. He is about to look into the soul of Detroit. Karl wipes the thick grease from the engine block. He sees the casting marks. They are clean. They are sharp. He finds the letters GMC. Below them, he finds the origin, made in USA. It is not a hand-stamped mark. It is part of the mold. It was cast into the liquid iron at a temperature of 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the GMC 270. It is an inline-six engine. It has a displacement of 269.5 cubic inches. Karl notices the design. It is an overhead valve OHV engine. In 1944, this is advanced technology for a cargo truck. Most German trucks still use side valve or L-head engines. Side valves are easier to cast. They are cheaper to build. But the OHV design is more efficient. It allows the engine to breathe better. It produces more torque at low speeds. This engine produces 104 horsepower at 3,000 RPM. Karl pulls the valve cover. He expects to see signs of a rushed wartime production. He expects to see rough edges or tool marks. He finds none. The rocker arms are perfect. The push rods are straight. The tolerances are tight. He measures the cylinder head with a micrometer. The measurements are identical to the technical manual. Karl realizes a chilling truth. This engine was not built by a Meister. In Germany, an engine is an art piece. A master craftsman grinds the surfaces. He fits the valves by hand. The German Meister takes pride in his work. He spends hours on a single block. But the American engine is a product of the machine. It was built on an assembly line. A worker in Detroit performed one single task. He did it 1,000 times a day. The machine does not get tired. The machine does not have bad days. Every GMC 270 engine is a carbon copy of the one before it. Karl looks at the serial number. He realizes this engine was built months ago. By now, the same factory has likely produced 50,000 more. This is the DNA of Detroit. It is a DNA of infinite repetition. Karl thinks about his own workshop. He thinks about the Borgward engines. He thinks about the Henschel engines. If a Henschel engine breaks, he needs a Henschel specialist. He needs specialized Henschel tools. If this GMC engine breaks, any boy with a basic wrench set can fix it. The American engine is democratic. It is designed to be used, abused, and repaired by anyone. Karl touches the carburetor. It is a Zenith 28 series. It is the same model used on thousands of civilian delivery trucks in America. The Americans didn't reinvent the wheel for the war. They just weaponized their civilian output. They turned the family car into the war machine. Karl Schmidt stands up. He wipes his forehead. The heat in the workshop feels oppressive. He realizes that Germany is fighting a war against a factory, and the factory never sleeps. He looks at the chassis again. He sees how the engine connects to the transmission. The modularity is staggering. It leads to a realization that is even more terrifying than the engine itself. It is the Lego of war. The principle of interchangeability didn't stop at the engine. It was the bloodline of the entire machine. Karl moves to the back of the truck. He is looking for the drivetrain components. He finds the transfer case. It is a Timken T77. It is a massive piece of cast iron. It splits the power between the front and rear axles. He notices the mounting bolts. They are identical to the bolts on the engine block. Karl realizes the entire truck is a puzzle. It is built from standard modules. In the German army, a transfer case is a precision instrument. It is fitted to the frame with millimeter accuracy. If the frame twists, the gears bind. The truck dies. The American truck is different. It uses universal joints. These joints allow the drive shafts to flex. They allow the truck to bend over rocks and craters. Karl inspects the universal joint. It is a Sewell design. He holds a spare joint from a light Dodge WC truck. He compares it to the one on the heavy GMC. They are the same. This is the Lego of war. The Americans have created a commonality of parts. A single part can repair a scout car, a light truck, or a heavy transport. Karl thinks about his supply lines. He thinks about the black folders. Every German mechanic carries a folder. It is filled with thousands of cross-reference charts. It tells them which Mercedes part might fit an auto union engine. It is a desperate game of hide and seek. The Americans don't need folders. They have the master parts list. Every part has a single number. That number is the same in a factory in Michigan and a foxhole in Belgium. Karl looks at the brake lines. They are made of flexible copper-nickel tubing. The fittings are standardized. He can take a brake line from a wrecked Jeep and screw it into this GMC. On a German truck, the brake lines are custom bent steel. If one breaks, he must heat a pipe and bend it by hand. It takes hours. It requires a forge. It requires a master's touch. The American can fix his brakes with a pair of pliers and a spare part from a different vehicle. Karl realizes that the U.S. Army is plug and play. They don't repair vehicles. They replace modules. If a transmission fails, they don't open the gearbox. They pull the whole unit out. They bolt a new one in. The broken unit is sent back to a massive factory in the rear. It is rebuilt by machines. This is maintenance by exchange. It is a concept the Wehrmacht cannot afford. Germany lacks the spare parts. They lack the fuel to transport them. Karl looks at the electrical system. It is a 6-volt system. The wiring harness is color-coded. Red is power. Black is ground. Green is lights. It is designed so a soldier who cannot read can still fix the lights. The German wiring is a nest of snakes. It is all the same color. It is a mystery that only an electrician can solve. Karl Schmidt sits on the tailgate. He is exhausted. He realizes that the GMC is not just a truck. It is the end of the craftsman's war. He looks at the forest path behind his shop. He sees the horses. This leads to the most painful realization of all. It is the horse-drawn reality. Karl looks out the window of his workshop. He sees the road leading back to the German border. It is a river of mud and misery. He does not see a column of panzers. He does not see a fleet of blitz trucks. He sees horses. Rows of heavy draft horses are straining against the harness. They are pulling wooden wagons. They are pulling 105mm howitzers. Karl realizes the propaganda is a lie. The Blitzkrieg was a mask. In 1944, the Wehrmacht is still a 19th century army. History books talk about the tanks, but the reality is the horse. Germany used 2.75 million horses during World War II. Most German infantry divisions have almost no trucks. Their entire supply line moves at 4 miles per hour. Karl looks back at the GMC sitting in his bay. The American Army is 100% motorized. Every soldier has a seat. Every shell has a truck. The GMC does not get tired. It does not need to rest for 6 hours after a march. Karl thinks about the logistics of the horse. A single horse needs 20 pounds of fodder every day. That is oats and hay. For a single division, that means tons of food just for the animals. If the horses don't eat, the ammo doesn't move. If the ammo doesn't move, the war stops. The Americans have replaced the horse with the GMC 270 engine. They have replaced hay with gasoline. Gasoline is energy dense. It is easy to transport in pipes or cans. Feeding a truck is an engineering task. Feeding a horse is a biological nightmare. Karl sees a horse collapse on the road outside. It is exhausted. Its heart has given out in the cold. The soldiers unhitch it. They push the carcass into the ditch. They move on. A dead horse cannot be repaired. It cannot be rebuilt in a factory. But a GMC can. Karl realizes the speed of the war is determined by the weakest link. In the American Army, the link is a steel drive shaft. In the German Army, the link is a living muscle. The American Army can move 100 miles in a day. The Wehrmacht can move 20. Karl looks at the GMC's tires again. They are designed to follow the tanks. The German horses are designed to follow the plow. He feels a wave of shame. He is a master mechanic in an army that still relies on oats. He is working on a machine from the future while his own men are stuck in the Middle Ages. The gap between the GMC and the horse-drawn wagon is the gap between victory and defeat. Karl walks over to the American tool chest. He wants to see how they maintain this speed. He is about to experience the toolkit shock. Karl opens the storage locker under the passenger seat. He finds a heavy canvas roll. It is thick. It is coated in waterproof wax. He unrolls it on his wooden workbench. Inside are wrenches. They are not made of cheap iron. They are made of chrome vanadium steel. They are polished. They are marked with clear, stamped numbers. Karl picks up a 9/16" open-end wrench. It feels balanced. It feels professional. He realizes this is not a master mechanic's kit. This is the driver's toolkit. In the U.S. Army, every single truck is issued this set. Every driver is a basic mechanic. Karl thinks of his own unit. His men share a single workshop box. If one man is using the 14mm wrench, the other 4 men are waiting. The Wehrmacht has a tool famine. They have the skill, but they lack the steel. Karl finds a specialized hub nut wrench in the roll. It is a deep well socket. It is designed specifically for the GMC's rear axles. It fits the nut with 0 play. In the German Army, they don't have this tool. They use a cold chisel and a heavy hammer to loosen axle nuts. They scar the metal. They ruin the threads. The Americans have designed a tool for every specific task. They have made the hard work easy. He finds a grease gun. It uses standardized Zerk fittings. He can grease the entire chassis on the GMC in 10 minutes. On an Opel, there are 30 different grease points. Half of them require a different nozzle. Karl sees a small branding mark on the pliers. It says Crescent. It is a name from a factory in Jamestown, New York. He realizes these tools are mass-produced by the millions. The Americans don't just build the truck. They build the ability to keep it moving. They have democratized maintenance. Karl looks at his own tools. They are old. They are mismatched. He feels like a man trying to stop a tidal wave with a bucket. The toolkit is the final proof of the industrial tsunami. It is a tsunami made of chrome, steel, and endless supply. He begins to calculate the numbers in his head. The math is the most terrifying thing of all. Karl Schmidt sits at his scarred wooden desk. He has a captured clipboard in front of him. It is an inventory list from an American quartermaster unit. He looks at the production figures. He looks at the dates. He sees a number that makes his heart stop: 562,750. This is the total number of GMC CCKWs built between 1941 and 1945. Karl blinks. He checks the math. He thinks of the Opel Blitz. The Blitz is the pride of German logistics, but Germany only produced 130,000 units during the entire war. America has produced 4 times as many of this single model, and the GMC is just one piece of the puzzle. He sees the data for the Dodge WC series. Over 250,000 were built. He sees the Willys MB Jeep. Over 640,000 were built. Karl does a mental audit of the entire conflict. By 1945, the United States will have produced over 2.4 million trucks. Germany will have produced fewer than 600,000. It is not a competition. It is an industrial execution. Karl looks at the GMC in his workshop. He realizes it was built in a factory that never turned off its lights. In Detroit, a new GMC rolled off the line every 4 minutes. In Germany, a truck is a slow birth. It is interrupted by air raids. It is slowed by a lack of ball bearings. The Americans are not just building vehicles, they are building a river of steel. Karl has heard of the Red Ball Express. It is a massive convoy system. It uses thousands of these GMC trucks to carry supplies from Normandy to the front. The trucks run 24 hours a day. They use a one-way highway. They carry 12,500 tons of supplies every single day. Karl thinks of his own men. They are waiting for a single horse-drawn wagon to bring 10 shells. The Americans are moving entire cities of supplies across a continent. They have the logistics of abundance. If a GMC breaks down on the Red Ball Express, the driver is told to push it into the ditch. He does not wait for a mechanic. He does not wait for a part. He simply jumps into the next truck in the line. There is always another truck. Karl realizes the terrifying truth of mass production. The Americans treat their trucks like ammunition. They are disposable. Germany treats a truck like a monument. It is precious. It is irreplaceable. You cannot win a war if you are afraid to lose your hardware. The industrial tsunami has already reached the German border. It is a wave of chrome and grease that cannot be stopped by bravery. Karl Schmidt looks at his tools one last time. He realizes his skill is obsolete. A master mechanic cannot outwork a million machines. He walks to the front of the GMC. He prepares to close the hood. He is ready for the final audit. Karl Schmidt stands before the GMC CCKW. The workshop is silent. He has spent 5 hours dissecting a miracle. He has weighed the bolts. He has measured the axles. He has performed the final audit of the Third Reich. He looks at the Made in USA stamp on the engine block. It is a death sentence for his army. Germany is fighting with 150 different types of trucks. Each is a fragile masterpiece. The Wehrmacht is a boutique army built on the sweat of the craftsman. America is fighting with one truck, the Jimmy. It is a rugged, interchangeable tool. The U.S. Army is a factory army built on the power of the machine. Karl thinks of the Tiger II tanks sitting in the mud. They lack a single, specialized gasket. He thinks of the Panthers abandoned because of their complex transmissions seized. Then he looks at the GMC. If this truck loses a generator, the driver finds a wrecked Jeep. He takes the part. He bolts it on. He is back in the fight in 20 minutes. The American Army never stops. It just replaces its skin and keeps moving. Karl realizes the American soldier is simply better supported. He is the tip of an industrial spear 3,000 miles long. He imagines a river of 6,000 GMCs on the Red Ball Express. They are carrying fuel. They are carrying shells. They are carrying food. They are moving at 40 miles per hour, day and night. His own army is moving at the speed of a hungry horse. It is moving at the speed of a man with a broken boot. Karl walks to the workbench. He picks up his German wrenches. They are high-quality steel. They are the tools of a master. He looks at the American tool roll. It is the tool of a nation. He realizes that the Blitzkrieg was won with trucks in 1940, but those trucks were captured French and British vehicles. Germany never had the industry to sustain the pace. They were living on borrowed time and stolen grease. The GMC is the proof that the debt is due. The industrial tsunami is not a metaphor. It is a physical weight. It is 562,000 trucks worth of weight. Karl feels a sense of profound exhaustion. You cannot beat a factory. You cannot outwork a machine that produces a new engine every 4 minutes. He looks at the GMC's headlights. They are standardized 6-volt sealed beams. If one breaks, the driver just snaps in a new one. Karl has to wait weeks for a specific Bosch bulb to arrive from a factory in Stuttgart. The war is no longer about bravery. It is about the standardized thread. It is about the interchangeable part. Karl Schmidt reaches out. He touches the radiator grill of the GMC. The metal is cold. He feels the vibrations of the road outside. He hears the clatter of horse hooves. It is the sound of the 19th century trying to stop the 20th. Karl knows how this ends. He knows that no amount of Wunderwaffen or secret weapons can save them. He puts the American tool roll back under the seat. He leaves it there for the next man. He reaches for the hood. He grips the cold steel. He lowers it slowly. The hood latches with a heavy, metallic thud. Karl Schmidt wipes the grease from his hands for the last time. He walks out of the workshop. He does not look back at the Opel Blitz. He just looks west. He looks toward the horizon where the sun is setting. The war is lost. The factory has won. The capture of a GMC CCKW was a technical revelation. It was the physical embodiment of Fordism applied to total war. While Germany focused on the masterpiece, America focused on the module. By prioritizing standardization and 6x6 mobility, the United States created an unstoppable logistical engine. The war was won in the factories of Detroit. Bravery is a variable. Industry is a constant. And in the end, the constant always wins. If you found this look into the mechanics of war fascinating, hit the like button. Subscribe to join us as we dissect the machines that changed history. Leave a comment. Could Germany have won if they standardized production in 1939? Thanks for watching.